Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Mr. Greyson's Science Corner. Today we are talking about states of matter. Now, there are three states of matter. Liquid. The next state of matter is solid. So cold. And the last one is gas. Look at that steam. All life on Earth is made up of matter, and matter is made up of those three things: solid, liquid, and gas. And those things can change into different states. Those states of matter can turn from solid into liquid by melting, or they can turn from solid into gas by evaporating. They can turn from liquid into solid by freezing. They're fluid. They can move around. And today we're going to use some liquid and some gas to crush a can. For this experiment, some of my tools are a can. Not much in it. Totally empty. A little bit of water. Refreshing. Some heat. And some cold water. My first step is I'm going to take a little bit of this water. Now, this is a hot water kettle, but it's cold water. And I'm going to put just a teeny tiny little bit of water in this empty can. Just a tiny little bit, maybe about an inch or so. Then I'm going to put this on top of my stove. Now, remember, Mr. Greyson is a trained professional, and this is not an experiment you should be doing at home. But it's very cool to watch, which is why we're doing it today for Mr. Greyson's Science Corner. So I'm going to turn on my stove. And I'm going to let this can sit right on top. And I'm going to let it sit until I start to see some steam rising from the top of the can. It shouldn't take long because there's not much water in there. Let's watch. Look at that steam rising. It's getting very, very hot. While that hot water is going, I'm going to add some even colder ice cubes. We want this water to be super, super cold. Let's check back on the can. It is getting super hot, but not quite steam yet. But now there's lots of steam rising up. And I know this can is ready. It is super hot. In fact, the water in this can is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. That means it's boiling. And that means it's ready. So let's try it out. Okay, here comes the hot can. Now that is cool. So I did not crush this can by my hand at all. All we used was science. You see, what happened inside this can is when I put a little bit of water in it, the water molecules were resting and they were happy. It's kind of like they were taking a little bit of a nap. But as soon as I put it on top of the stove, all those little water molecules started getting really excited and really happy, and they just started moving around and dancing around, and they wanted to get out of this can because they're really hot and they want to turn into water vapor. So the hotter it gets, the more steam starts pouring out of here. So that steam that was coming out of the can is all those water molecules turning into water vapor. Now, when I took the can of a little bit of water and put it in the super cold water, all of those water molecules and all of that gas immediately shoop, turned back into liquid. The pressure in the kitchen is a lot stronger than the pressure on the inside of this can. So when it went from being super, super hot to super cold in the ice bath, it squished it. And now all those water molecules are back to being happy water. Anyway, thanks for tuning in to another edition of Mr. Greyson's Science Corner. I'll see you next week.